Good morning. This is Just Listen, hosted by George Goodman. Welcome to the podcast. Today is Monday, May 18th, 2026. Hey, guys, I'm just finishing up a visit with my daughter, her husband, and my two beautiful grandkids. I'm in Lombard, Illinois. And wow, this whole area is nice and the people are very, very nice. I watched a little bit of the news and also the commercials just to see what it was like. So in Southern Illinois, we watch a lot of news and advertisements from the St. Louis market. So guess what I didn't see? I didn't see a lot of commercials on personal injury. And also, they didn't spend 20 minutes talking about people who had got hurt or killed on the highways or by other people. It's totally different in this side of the state, just in case you wanted to know. Okay, so today I am going to talk about what the legislature is working on. They are very, very busy. This is the busy time of the year for them because they have to pass a budget. All right. So it's high stakes for them. And the spring session, session, is going to end very soon. So they're doing a third reading on all of the bills that they have in committee that they want to press forward. And they have to do it by Friday, May 22nd, because they're going to be adjourned for about 2 or 3 weeks. And then mid June, they'll be back. And then it'll be time to vote and see. All right. So they're talking about revenue tightening, data center regulation, artificial intelligence safety, and corporate health mergers. So they're very busy. All right, so the top priority is finalizing the $56 billion state budget. And so just days ago, the state budget offices lowered revenue projections due to the rise in unemployment concerns and sluggish sales tax collections, right? Because that's how they figure it out, the budget. So currently they're going to do a budget of 56 billion. Now keep in mind, so far, since this is an election year, they are not really talking about who's going to spend, who's going to pay for it, right? And the reason is because they know, in my opinion, this is the opinion, someone's got to make up the shortfall. And guess who it's going to be? It's going to be voters and people who live in the state. But they're not doing that now. So here's what they're doing: limited spending. Lawmakers are negotiating how to balance the budget with virtually no room for new spending beyond the governor's conservative proposal, right? Because he's running for reelection. All right, new revenue streams to offset a structural deficit worsened by federal funding cuts. Democrats are weighing new revenue ideas, including a proposal, social media tax, and changes to the corporate tax deductions. Those are two important things. Now, they are just talking about it. There is actually no bills out there for those two things. So they want to raise the corporate taxes since the federal government lowered them. They want to bring them back up. And they are also looking at a social media tax, which, as I've told you before, is going to end up in court. And I'm not sure if they'll get that in the first place, but that's what they're talking about. SNAP funding gaps. Lawmakers are facing massive local pressure to pass emergency funding to provide benefits for roughly 240,000 residents facing food insecurity due to the federal policy changes. All right. So the SNAP is based on the fight with Illinois and the federal government over who was getting benefits. So the people that they cut out, and this is public knowledge if you want to go and look it up, is that the federal government said you cannot provide funding for illegal immigrants because they were. Now, I would add that you always cover the children. So, and the federal government never said that they weren't going to cover children. They're talking about grown up adults who are in the country legally. And as a result of that, they lost a portion of the SNAP funding based on that. So that's what's really happening. So the Democrats, and they said it here, are looking at to pass emergency funding, which means what? Well, they're going to go in debt a lot more. So that's what they're doing. And that's what's happening with this fiscal year budget. And also, you have to blend that with the fact that the governor of Illinois has been focused on balancing the budget and also been focused on the credit rating, right? So that's why they're trying to keep the budget low and just cover expenses because it's an election year. Okay, because you're going to see some major changes. All right, regulating the data centers. Environmental advocates and local communities are placing immense pressure on the General Assembly to pass the Power Act. The debate. The bill targets massive influx of hyperscale data centers in Illinois. The rules. It would mandate strict disclosures regarding data centers, extreme water consumption and energy usage, require environmental impact assessment, and ban non-disclosure agreements during local negotiations. Now, I agree with that half and half. And the legislature should be concerned about energy and water, keeping the water clean and all of that stuff. So that should be the normal evolution of doing this. What happens is they add other stuff to the bill so that if it is a data center, if anyone who makes it through, then there's extra regulation, which equals more money that the data centers have to pay. And guess who they're going to pass that on to? They're going to pass it on to Illinoisans. They are not going to take all of those costs. They will follow the environmental rules. And also, power in Illinois is becoming such a high issue because we are saying, the legislature is saying that we don't have enough energy for people. That's what the energy companies are saying. And as a result, they want to charge you, the regular person, more money in your power bills every month. And then they're going to pivot to the data centers and say, well, we have to do it because of them. And my opinion, that is absolutely false, because with the regulation, that will be covered in there. So that's where we're at. All right. Artificial intelligence and consumer protections. All right. So, and it says that Senate Democrats are advancing a massive landmark AI safety. The issue, the package targets identity theft, privacy risk, harmful automated chatbot interactions, and algorithmic price gouging. And I think that this bill is going to be popular because I think both sides see that as an issue that needs to be regulated, and the enforcement needs to do that. All right. So it's kind of stalled though. There's a high profile tech measures like the Biometric Surveillance Act, which aim to completely ban law enforcement from using facial recognition tools, have officially stalled for the reason due to pushback over public safety trade offs. Okay, so you are not going to get this bill because the legislature, and they're no different than any other state, but Illinois are going to be punished because the legislature wants to make sure that you cannot scan somebody's face and know who they are and then use that to arrest them. That's why it stalled. So you decide if that's a good reason to not pass targeted identity theft, privacy risk, harmful automated chatbot interactions, and algorithmic price gouging. Okay. So you decide. So that's what's holding up that one. Healthcare and insurance reform. Homeowners insurance. Now, they've been talking about this, and I've been talking about it. Lowering homeowners insurance, and there's no bill for it, but there is one for the private equity healthcare mergers. So, Housing Bill 5000, the legislature is trying to close loopholes by forcing private equity firms to notify attorney generals within 30 days before purchasing or merging with Illinois healthcare facilities. And I think that this is a good rule, and it'll be a good law that keeps them from working together to raise prices. So they actually got that right. And you should call up your legislative representatives and tell them that they finally got something right, right? Now, back to the homeowners insurance. Fresh legislation is moving through the chambers to crack down on soaring homeowners insurance rate hikes and force companies to be more transparent. Okay, good luck with that one. They're going to run into some major hurdles, uh, primarily like in court. Homeowners insurance is currently based on the value of a house. So, boy, if they can get that through and the court say that that's okay, they would have done something because the homeowners insurance is expensive, but I think for other reasons. Okay, what's off the table? Well, I should have said this at first. Here we go with the Chicago Bears. So the Bears requested 800 million in public infrastructure funding and property tax breaks for the new stadium. Well, the legislative body said, well, that's not really an important issue for us to give out stadium subsidies, and it's a low priority, so they're not going to address it. So I believe, and this is my opinion strictly, the Chicago Bears, if they don't help them fund that stadium, they are going to move. And I've told you guys before that cities that don't have sports teams are going to start getting them because your elected officials aren't looking at, for example, if they help them buy a stadium, they are keeping the jobs here because there is a significant number of working class people who have these jobs. And you want to keep them employed and paying taxes. That is the only issue. You have to look beyond what the stadium is bringing to the state. And if the team is physically in Illinois, that's tax revenue from property taxes, etc. Guess what? Indiana and Iowa towns are actively trying to say that they will take on uh, helping to fund the Chicago Bears. Now, if they can do it in Indiana, why can't we do it in Illinois. And we have to get off of this notion that, well, it's a sports team and the players are making all this money. That has absolutely nothing to do with helping out the working class in the state and keeping some of the tax revenue. So I would tell you to contact your representatives and inform them that we need the revenue in the state, because otherwise people who are working are going to be paying more in taxes. Okay, so that's what we have for May 18th. Please subscribe to my channel and follow me if you can. And we deal in facts and details here. For the Chicago Bear Stadium, I gave you my opinion. That's a rarity. I'll get back on the facts and details exclusively as promised. So have a great day. And if you get a chance, reach out to someone that you don't know, start a conversation, and be good to each other. This is Just Listen live stream from George Goodman. Have a great day.